Hey guys, so I'm kind of late with this, but this is going to be my review for Mortal Kombat 2021. I watched this last Saturday with a bunch of guys. We had a blast, played some Mario Kart beforehand and all that stuff. It was fun. But we when we got to the movie, that's that's a different story. So this is going to be a spoiler review. It's been out for, pretty much a week now, equivalent to a week. If you haven't seen it, and you still want to go see it, then, go watch that first. If you just really want to watch it, especially if you're a Mortal Kombat fan, go ahead and watch it. Come back if that's what you want to do. Otherwise, if you don't care or you've seen it, these are my thoughts. I had not super high expectations. I had what I think was the proper expectation for this movie, is that I was looking for cool action, cool fatalities, and cool gore. I'm not a gore guy. Like I'm not like, someone who just like, I need blood everywhere. But it's Mortal Kombat, and that was the thing people always complain about, even with the 90s version that people love, that people hold that to be the greatest video game movie ever, the 90s version. I love it. It's corny, it's silly, and the most bloodless version of Mortal Kombat you could possibly have. But the characters are cool. They're likable, especially the actor who plays Raiden. I can't remember, it's like Lambert or something like that. I can't remember the actor's name, but I love him.
The fate of billions will depend upon you. Sorry.
But it had all that, and the action they did have was cool. So I just needed to be equal to that or greater. That's the expectation I had. Did it match up? That's a hard one to answer. Not really. It's not that hard. Not really. This is what it does have. So let me go through all the good of this movie first. And that is a lot of the action is really good. There's a lot of good, actions in here. You can tell that most of the actors know what they're doing with their fight scenes. Especially you have the opening with Hanzo Hasashi and Bi-Han fight, Scorpion and Sub-Zero. You have them at the beginning and them at the end. Their two fights are the best fights in the movie. The only complaint I could have about the first fight is that they do too much cutting. It's kind of a Western thing. It's starting to come more popular now, but people always, they cut around action scenes, to kind of either hide, maybe a mistake in the choreography or make the action look like it has more energy. But these two actors, you have the actor who plays Scorpion, and if you know him from anything, he knows what he's doing. You can tell he knows what he's doing just in the choreography you see. And then you have the actor who plays Sub-Zero, and he was in The Raid. So, and if you've seen The Raid, this guy knows what he's doing too. Okay. So, that bothered me, but those are two best action scenes. The fatalities, we actually have some of the fatalities in here. When they happen, they are cool. My favorite one is the one that Kung Lao does at a certain point in the movie. He just chops this one chick in half, and it's straight out of video games.
Flawless victory.
I love it. One more good thing. Kano. Lord, Kano stole the show.
Kano wins. You fucking beauty.
Like, the minute he came on, like, when I was watching with my friends, like, right at the beginning, when we were watching this, like, and a lot of them not even, like, don't really know anything about Mortal Kombat. But as soon as Kano came on, they instantly was just like, I like this guy. He's my guy. I love him. Anything he do, I don't care. I love him. And I felt the same. The actor, just Kano, you could tell he was just into the role. He made it his own. I loved it. That's about it. That's all the movie had going for it. The other 8% of this movie was kind of garbage. And I'll tell you why. So the movie's only an hour and 50 minutes. And in that hour and 50 minutes, about maybe, I would say an hour and 15, 20 of it, at least that's how it felt to me, was just exposition and training montages. Like it dragged on at a certain point, and a lot of it is unnecessary too, because they do it because it's a certain point with all the groups, they're getting together and they're training to fight, the outworld people who come to kill them. And it's this whole thing they have to learn. I can't remember what it's called. Essentially, they give a reason why these characters have their iconic moves and powers. Liu Kang has his fire, Kung Lao has his frisbee hat, all that stuff. But they unnecessarily this is what Hollywood keeps doing with video game movies, is that whenever they have to introduce something that's iconic to the game that they're doing, they have to make up a reason why it exists. But, kind of like in Sonic, where they have Sonic has his rings. Well, why does he have these rings in this movie? It's portals. Though I didn't mind that in Sonic. But here, it particularly doesn't make sense, because you don't have to make up, these reasons for why they have these abilities or things. They already have reasons in the games. And then even with the more supernatural abilities, you could just go, they're chi. You could say, oh, well, we were taught how to harness our chi, and that's it. That's all you have to tell us. But here, they have this whole little thing about, hey, if you have this dragon marking, meaning you're entering Mortal Kombat, you can awaken an inner power, and that's the only way you can get this power. And it just seems unnecessary, especially with about 3 characters. The first one is Kano. Now, I love Kano, but if you don't know about Kano, is that he's this criminal guy. He runs this kind of like this gang called the Black Dragon. But one of the things, his signature things you always know about him, is that he has one robotic eye, and that robotic eye can shoot a laser out of it. Now, okay, that's plain and simple. You could just introduce him, have it set up that he has a robotic eye. He's evil, whatever. You can accept that this is already a fantastical world, all right? You don't have to explain him having a cyborg eye. But instead of going that route, what they do is they have him, initially he's joined up with the gang and he has a dragon tattoo. And instead of him having a robotic eye, he just awakens his inner power, and his inner power just happens to be that he shoots one laser beam out of one eye. And it's like, why? Why do it that way? The second one, which was unnecessary and stupid, Jax. So if you see the trailer, you see that Sub-Zero just completely dismantles Jax, both figuratively and literally. Like, he crushes his arms. Boom. That happens in the game too, several different ways. Sometimes it's Goro, sometimes it's Ermac, sometimes it's Sub-Zero. Here, he got his arm shattered. He has no arms. So then the monks, that Liu Kang hangs out with, luckily, I guess they all have degrees in like biotech engineering and prosthetics, because they were able to just hook him up with these little baby robot arms. And so what's Jax's inner power he has to unlock? His inner power is that he goes from having little tiny baby chicken arms to just bigger, bulky metal arms like he has in the game. What? That's his inner power? He just gets bigger arms. Why they do it that way, I don't know. You could have literally just had, hey, he lost his arms, and then they gave him big robot arms, and you could have build up to him getting the big robot arms. And then the other one is that Sonya, eventually she gets a dragon marking, and she just shoots out her purple rings that she does in the games. And again, you could just say, well, that's just technology that she had, which I think that's what it was in the game. So yeah, they have to use this thing to explain stuff that you don't need it to explain. You could just say they have technology. Another thing that sucks, majority of the characters are just wooden. And that specifically, in my mind, is Liu Kang, Kung Lao. Their characters, their personalities are just interchangeable, which are just plain and stale. And then most importantly, Cole, which is the newest character. He's supposed to be our audience avatar, the person that goes like, hey, I'm entering this brand new world. What is this? Explain to me. That's what his character is supposed to be. But he has no personality. Literally, his entire personality is around the fact that he's a family man. But even then, his family's barely in the movie. They probably like in a total of like maybe 10 minutes of the movie if you combine all their scenes. But other than that, like when he's talking, it's just wooden. It's just like, oh wow, yeah, that's crazy. What? No, that's impossible. Like there's no personality behind it at all. He's not charismatic. Liu Kang, Kung Lao, same thing. They're just kind of stale. Jack Sonya, they were fine. The actors did okay job with them, but again, they're just kind of there, you know, and everything. Raiden, he's just kind of a jerk. Like he shows up and the first thing he does is just tells everybody how they're just good for nothing, you know, and worthless. That's about it. You know, he really doesn't have any of the charm that the original Raiden from the 90s movie had. You know, he felt that Raiden, even though he didn't do anything, much like this Raiden, he felt menacing and he has so much charisma and, you know, he was funny. But when he got serious, you always felt like, oh, I don't want to screw with this guy.
I don't think so.
This guy, yeah, you could tell that only because they tell you that he's powerful, but you really don't have a moment of like, oh, I don't want to piss this guy off. You know, he's just a jerk. You know, that's about it. And he makes no sense, but I'll get into that in a second. Kano is the only person of all the characters that have any personality at all. Like literally, he was more of a character avatar than Cole was. And like I was like, why don't we just follow Kano? I mean, he's the bad guy, so that's why. Which again, you could have just had Johnny Cage, who is from our world. He's a Hollywood actor, and he could have been our avatar. You know, Johnny Cage has a personality. You shouldn't be able to screw Johnny Cage up, but no. Then there's a lot of plot stuff. Like, first off, it's called Mortal Kombat, but Mortal Kombat's not even in this movie. It's not. This whole movie is a prelude to Mortal Kombat. They're assembling everyone who's going to be fighting in the tournament, which I'm not fully against that, but they have no time to flesh any of these characters out. And they have to get this plot rushed, and they can't explain anything. They only have an hour 50 minutes, and they use most of that time for exposition, but it's exposition that really doesn't further the characters, it just furthers the plot. Even to the point that when we are introduced to certain things, they don't really explain why it's here now. Like there's a point in which Shang Tsung and the Outworld army come to kill all of our champions, and so Raiden has to get them out of there. So he just teleports them all out of there to this void in which he states that Shang Tsung can't even reach them there no matter what. And my immediate thought was, why didn't you take him there in the first place? Like, it's a void. You know, no way to be interrupted. You don't have to put up a force field. You don't do anything like that. Just bring them there and they train there. But no, he chooses now to bring them there once everything falls apart. And it only costs them one of their champions. Which they could have easily saved as far as what this movie was showing me, but they just did no, it's too late, he's too far gone. While Kung Lao's over there still like, I'm still alive, guys. Like, no, he's gone. Like, it's stupid, man. Villains are pretty dry. The only cool villain is Sub-Zero. Just because he's the only one doing stuff. Goro, he shows up, then he dies. Man, like if they at least added another maybe 15 or 20 minutes to this movie, you know, I know that'd still be kind of pushing it, I guess, in length. And if they had better writers, this probably could have been a way better movie. It would have been a perfect Mortal Kombat movie. But as far as I'm seeing, the original 90s version is better. This is better than Annihilation. I'll give it that, but that's not a hard bar. But as far as this movie goes, yeah, it's kind of disappointing. The action was cool. I love the Scorpion and Sub-Zero stuff. I loved Kano, but everything else was, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, guys, those are my thoughts. This is more of a rant. I'm sorry if I was just ranting and you're just like, why is this guy ranting? But those are just my thoughts about this. Let me know what you guys thought about it. Like, subscribe, share if you want to. I might try to get up another video today, maybe. I don't know. I'm jumping right to it now. But yeah, until next time, guys, take care.